Today on Fresno State Focus, we learn about a safe place on campus for our LGBTQ students.
We learn about free tech help that is at the library.
Plus, we give you an update on the incoming Hurricane Milton in Florida. Fresno State Focus starts now.
Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Jacqueline Alvarez.
And I'm Mason Beaver. Hurricane Milton will make landfall tonight on early tomorrow morning near Tampa, Florida.
The National Weather Service says the Category 4 storm is expected to be one of the biggest hurricanes to make landfall in over 100 years. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis says it will remain a very dangerous hurricane when it hits Florida. The storm slammed into Havana, Cuba early this morning, causing a storm surge that flooded streets with strong waves and currents. Right now, the eye of the storm is headed to Florida. The National Weather Service is warning people to shelter in place in Tampa if they have not already evacuated.
As we turn our attention to the Middle East, it has been 1 year since the surprise attack from Hamas on the Supernova Music Festival in Israel. The fighting between Hamas and Israel has gone on with a treaty nowhere in sight, and people struggling on both sides. Last week, Iran launched missiles at Israel. Prime Minister of Israel this week says that Israel will continue fighting during his speech on the first anniversary of the attack. It's important to understand the events that led up to what is happening now. The person who can answer some of those questions is a historian and history professor, Dr. Julia Schatz. Dr. Schatz, how are the recent conflicts affected daily lives of those living in Israel and Gaza?
I think that, first of all, thank you for having me. I think that it's hard to underestimate how drastically the last year has changed life in Israel, in Gaza, in the West Bank, and now in Lebanon. So for people in Israel, a lot of people are living with anxiety and fear, especially given the missile attacks from Iran in the last week. However, I think it's mostly in Gaza that we see the real catastrophic effects of this war. Over 43,000 Gazans, Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. A huge number of those are children, and infrastructure in Gaza has been completely destroyed. There is no more medical infrastructure. Israeli bombing campaigns have reduced universities, hospitals, homes completely to rubble. So life in Gaza right now is unimaginable. Things are at a halt. People are pushed into very small enclaves of a very, very small territory already, and it's a humanitarian catastrophe. So,
what do you believe is the contributing factor to these tensions that we're going through right now? Is there something that we could probably do differently, do you think?
Well, I think there's a very long history to this story, and so the Hamas's attacks on southern Israel on October 7th of last year were certainly a surprising and horrific event, but they were also part of a much longer history that really centers around the conditions under which Palestinians have been living in Gaza, in the West Bank, since the creation of Israel in 1948, which simultaneously was the expulsion of Palestinians from the places where they had lived. So the real root causes of all of these tensions and conflicts, whether in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the West Bank, even with Iran, is the fact that Palestinians have been living under Israeli occupation, and we have not yet come to a political solution that would guarantee rights for Palestinians.
Do you think that there's anything we can do to help with the children? It's so devastating seeing what we see on national news.
Yeah, and certainly there are humanitarian organizations that are doing a good job in trying the best they can to get aid into Gaza and other places where people are affected. But I think that ultimately the only solution to these conflicts is a political solution in which everyone's safety, Israelis, Palestinians alike, is guaranteed by making sure that Palestinians have political rights equal to Israelis' political rights. So there's a political solution that would have to be pushed for, and that's the only way Israelis, Palestinians, and anyone in the region is going to be safe.
Thank you so much, Professor Schatz, for your time. It's a pleasure that you're here, and it was great to meet you. And I look forward to meeting you in the near future.
Thank you.
Freedom of speech is an issue everywhere in the world, including right here at Fresno State. All students in the Cal State University system received a reminder from the chancellor on the one-year anniversary of the Hamas attack in Israel, reminding us our rights to peacefully protest on our campuses. As we've just heard, our two previous interviews, we've all been impacted by this conflict, no matter our backgrounds or beliefs. Grief and the desire for peace is universal, so our collective desire to be accepted. There are a lot of resources at Fresno State for LGBTQ students. It's a welcome site for those who don't know about the resources. We take a look at where you can find to go in a safe place on campus. Students at Fresno State are looking for ways to be more accepted on campus. Sometimes they have no way of finding places to go to feel safe.
The Pride Room is a space that is utilized by students daily. It's a safe space where students can come in between classes.
Lexi Jenkins is a former assistant for the LGBTQ+ programs and services. She says anyone is welcome.
It's just to give a safe space where people can be accepted in their identity, but it's not always about specifically talking about our identities.
As students visit the Pride Room at Fresno State, they get a sense of community and support, including a safe place and inclusive space. Felix Vargas is the LGBTQ+ resource coordinator.
Where students can come, relax, study, convene together in order to form a sense of community belonging.
Over here they have their whiteboard where they put all their thoughts and things that they want to talk about inside this safe place.
Over 40 students. There was also a mix of staff and faculty who stopped by in order to offer their knowledges and share with students the work they do on campus around LGBTQ+ resources.
If they expose them more, like a lot of people can like use those resources like to benefit themselves. I think they could probably do like flyers and stuff and maybe like post it on social media and stuff like that.
By next semester, the center is planning to create more events for anyone who wants to attend, including bringing back the LGBTQ+ prom this spring. Visit our Fresno State Focus website for more information.
October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. One on-campus organization is promoting the importance of domestic violence awareness in creative ways. The Sigma Alpha Zeta Multicultural Sorority is hosting its annual Domestic Violence Awareness Month with different events.
I believe it could promote a sense of community because so many victims that are affected by domestic violence feel isolated, and I feel like if we could do our part to raise awareness and let them know that they're not alone, it'll make them feel more a part of the community.
Escobar says the events are open to everyone. The next event is Self-Defense Tactics, tomorrow at 6:30. For more information, follow their Instagram at Fresno State_SAZ. Coming up on Fresno State Focus, Marisol Rubio is live at the Big Fresno Fair in the Livestock Barn.
Plus, we learn about the murals on campus that tell a story of the past.
I'm Efren Mata. People in Florida are bracing for the worst. Our focus on weather is next.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head. Up in my head. Up in my head. I got that bulldog spirit up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, deep in my heart, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit all over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit
deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart, deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
I'm Efren Mata with your focus on weather. Behind me is a video from earlier at the Fresno State Fountain, and as you can see above, the sky is pretty clear, but that is soon to change. Taking a look at our national satellite, this big story today is Hurricane Milton. You can see at the bottom of your screen, it's past Cuba and the Gulf of Mexico, and it's moving on its way to Florida. we zoom in here, we can see a lot of activity. The eye of the storm will be passing through the bottom half of Florida, between Tampa, Fort Myers, and through Orlando. Top speeds will be at 125 starting at tonight, 8 p.m., and by 8 p.m. tomorrow, they'll be down to 75 miles per hour. Moving on to our western satellite, if we move over, we can see that there's a little bit of activity over the Pacific Ocean. This will lead to cooler temperatures later on this week, as we'll see in our 7-day forecast. Today's highs in Fresno, a high of 95 throughout the Central Valley. On average, 95, but typically up in the high 80s, low 90s. Moving on to today's lows in Fresno, a low of 65. Across the Central Valley, we can see lows of 60 and highs of 50. Moving on to our air quality. Across the board, it is a checkerboard. Got good in San Joaquin Valley, and everywhere else in between moderate and unsensitive or unhealthy for sensitive groups. So tomorrow might not be the day to go outside. Moving on to our 7-day forecast, we can see right here, Thursday we have 90 degrees, and it only gets cooler after that. Friday, 88, Saturday, 85, and Sunday, 83. Those cooler temperatures that we've all been waiting here, we'll see them at the start of next week, but on Monday, tick right back up to 84, and it should stay there consistently. It will be pretty sunny in the middle of the week starting next week, but that's been your focus on weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
There are a lot of events at the Big Fresno Fair.
One of the highlights is a livestock exhibit and the Future Farmers of America. And that's where we find Marisol Rubio. Hi, Marisol.
Hi, I'm here at the Big Fresno Fair. Behind me, we have the livestock exhibit, and they have all the students here taking care of all the animals. They feed them, they brush them, and basically they just have them, they're taking care of them while they prepare for their live show. So over here, I am with Marissa Heller. So this is actually your 4th year here. How are you enjoying this?
I'm really enjoying it. It's exciting being a senior in FFA. There's so many things that you've been looking forward to, and especially showing your animal. You only get to do it 4 times, so I'm really excited to be here.
And what really got you into FFA in the first place?
So I was able to see my brother's show when they were in high school, and seeing that, being at the farm with them, was really exciting for me, knowing that one day I would do that too. And then just getting involved in it. There's so many more things you can do than just showing animals, and I just really loved it.
Do you wish you started at an earlier age by chance?
I do wish, just so I could get more experience and get more time by showing.
Okay. And what is your animal's name?
My animal's name is Chocolate.
Okay. You did tell me a story earlier about Chocolate. How did Chocolate get her name?
So Chocolate has actually had the run since she was about 3 months old, and it just stayed with her. So I named her Soft Serve, but instead of having to explain I just said Chocolate.
Thank you so much. Let's just have a look at Chocolate. This is Chocolate right here. She's just laying down right now. I'm Marisol Rubio at the Big Fresno Fair, Fresno State Focus. Back to you guys.
There are unique murals on the side of the Science 2 building. I show you the meaning and the stories behind those murals.
On the side of the Science 2 building, you've seen an artistic and educational mural.
So the mural behind me is depicting an ocean scene of the representation of what would be in the vicinity around us if we were here 65 to 70 million years ago.
It is not only a mural in the Science 2 building. Right next to it,
as you enter this door of this stairwell, you can see these murals start all the way at the bottom to the top.
Inside the 3 levels of the stairwell, it shows the geological timeline. Mural depicts the various time periods in Earth's history.
So we thought it'd be neat if we have a mural that depicts what the life looked like back at that time to go along with the skeleton that the university had already had on display for decades.
These murals are not only for the oohs and the ahs.
There's a lot of organisms on there that are extinct that hopefully will capture the interest of individuals and want to learn a little more about the history of life in the geologic past on Earth.
To learn more about these murals on the Science 2 building and other murals across the campus, head to our website, FresnoStateFocus.com. Mason, Jacqueline, back to you guys.
An old trend is making a new comeback.
It's a bracelet making. Recently, the trend has gotten more popular.
Yes, and there is a store in Bulldog Plaza that has Fresno's first charm bar. Here's how it works. You choose a bracelet, necklace, keychain, earrings, or back chain, and then you pick out your favorite charms. There are over 200 charms to choose from. The store owner tells us why she thinks this trend has grown.
Well, it's fashion, so it's like a cycle. So charm is just, it was popular during my days when I was younger. So it's like where it's coming back.
If you're interested in hopping on the bracelet making train, the store is open on Tuesday through Sunday. The only time they're closed is Mondays. If you don't have a class, we hear that Tuesday afternoons are pretty chill. Well, Mason, are you going to go Tuesday afternoon?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it.
I see that you have a charm there. What's on that charm?
On this charm, it looks like it's a little ghost and a little purple flower on it. It's something I got it from Amazon for maybe only $10. Very cheap, very affordable. So.
Yeah. All right. On top of the many resources that Fresno State offers to its students, the Discovery Tech Lending Hub is another great opportunity. Alex Flores is here to tell us why what they have to offer is amazing.
From loaning iPads to Wi-Fi help, the student assistants can help you with anything tech. I have a closer look at what Discovery and as many resources can do for you.
If you're looking for help ranging from connecting to the internet, Adobe support, software completion, and even workshops, the Discovery Hub is the place to go. The student assistants are here to help with one-tier tech support for students, staff, and faculty.
And starting in 2021, we actually started lending devices to any student who maintained their good standing at the university. As long as they were taking classes, they get to keep the device for as long as they're a student here.
Thomas Ortiz is a student assistant at the Discovery Hub. He says many students are afraid to come ask for help.
We get the struggle where students too, we can make it easier for you in some areas, and it's the stuff you actually need to worry about, like your classes and stuff, you can do that while we help with Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about having to do that.
We're here at the Fresno State Library's main floor at the Discovery Student Hub, where you can come and check out your iPad device for the semester or the year. Simply schedule an appointment, come down to the library, talk to one of the student assistants, and you can get your device for free.
Architecture student Melissa Rosales says it's helpful to have access to technology.
If you can't afford one or you don't have one or have access to one, to go to the library or even to schedule a day for the first half of class to come in here in case students are afraid to go up and to go ask for one.
Students can fill out the iPad request form at the Discovery website.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Success.
The Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday, but they will be without star wide receiver Davante Adams again. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reports that the former Bulldog will miss his third straight game as he deals with a hamstring injury. Adams is the subject of numerous trade rumors, with the Raiders looking to move him for a second-round pick. Fresno State men's golf placed 12th overall this week at the Alistair McKenzie Invitational. The team finished with an impressive 18 under at 834 overall at the Meadow Club in Fairfax up in the Bay Area. Mason Benbrook finished with a career best of 9 under at 204, shooting a 68 in all 3 rounds. He finished tied for 23rd overall in the Invitational. Joseph Lloyd, Ryan Furpo, and Jake Betancourt all finished with 1 under, tied for 58th overall for the invite. Fresno State will travel to Carmel on Central Coast later this month for the Cal Poly Invitational on October 28th and 29th. The postseason continues today in Major League Baseball. The Detroit Tigers just beat the Cleveland Guardians 3-0 to take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 continues tomorrow afternoon in Detroit at 3 o'clock. The Mets and Phillies are currently playing right now in New York. A victory for the Mets would send them to the NLCS. Former Bulldog Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees are in Kansas City right now, taking on the Royals. That series is tied up at 1 game apiece. Final game of the night will be in San Diego. Padres will look to clinch a spot in the NLCS with a win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. First pitch is scheduled for 6:08. That's your focus on sports. Now here's Jacqueline with a special guest who can share us his personal story regarding the violence in the Middle East.
Today, I have Fresno State Focus alumnus Mohammed Ahmed with me. He escaped arrest during the Egyptian Revolution in 2016 for protesting against the Egyptian government and fighting for freedom of speech. Mohammed, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, I know it's been a long time since you've been over there, but I was wondering, could you tell us what these people are possibly going through over there?
When we talk about Egypt, it's kind of hard to actually explain what's going on. We had a military coup in 2013 that ended up by killing over 1,000 people in one day with Rabaa massacre. They are struggling financially. They're struggling for freedom of speech. Even if you raise a Palestinian flag right now in Egypt, you will be arrested.
Wow. So could you tell us a little bit, if you said raising a Palestinian flag is a threat, so how do you guys express whether you are for or against Palestine, what's going on with Palestine?
So you get some, not very much, but you get some freedom on social media, so you can post whatever you want to post. However, there's a chance it might also come behind you. There's different groups, teenagers got arrested for raising funds to support Palestine and what's happening in Gaza.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have this video over here. Could you tell us what is going on in this video and what was happening? I see that you're on stage.
So that was back in 2013 during Rabaa event. I was pretty much shouting that I'm not here for the president himself. I'm not here for the person. I'm pretty much here because I believe democracy voted him for 4 years. He has to be here for 4 years. And I've been always against the idea of having the army taking control of the country.
Mm-hmm. And so why should the world be paying attention to the wars of the Middle East that are happening right now?
So when it comes to the wars in the Middle East, I personally have a different opinion. I don't think what's happening in Gaza is a war. I would say there's an attack, there's a genocide. But a war, we can mention that to like maybe Iran versus Israel. There is no army in Gaza to call it a war at that time.
All right. And so you left Egypt, but you came here and you're still involved in telling your voice. Why is that?
I was raised on saying and sharing what's right, and I think the only thing I can do for people in Gaza right now is just share their story. I don't have anything in my power beside this, just to show everyone and tell everyone what's happening over there, the genocide that's happening right now while we're speaking. I think it's very important for everyone just to talk about.
All right, well, thank you, Mohammed, for sharing us your incredible story.
Thank you.
On the lookout for a job? Last week, hiring managers were on the lookout for potential new employees. The career fair was held inside the Roots Ballroom on the first floor of the RSU. Students attending checked in and also got name tags to make networking a little easier. There were over 90 booths with employers and internships representing many different industries. Some booths, such as the Clovis PD informational booth, were decorated with free items to miss this career fair. There will be a 3-day career fair event in early March.
Movie night in the RSU on Monday, where they showed a special screening of Insidious inside the Reese Ballroom. Students got to watch the movie while enjoying snacks with their friends and taking pictures at the photo booth. Spotlight Events' next gathering will be the Spotlight Spooktacular, which is a mini carnival. That will be in the Memorial Gardens on October 30th.
The RSU got a new vending machine yesterday, but it's not for snacks. It is a vending machine that provides students with health and wellness supplies. Students swipe their student IDs, then punch in a 4-digit number that is their date of birth. Then they select the item they want. Make sure to keep note of which item you get because each student can only get the same item twice per month. The Big Fresno Fair is here, and there are tons of things to be excited about, including rocks.
The Fresno Gem and Mineral Society sets up every year to sell unique geodes. It ranges from large pieces to tiny collectibles. The club works in partnership with the Fresno State Department of Geology to raise money for scholarships.
Yep.
The funds help students research in geology.
Geology students, they're awesome. They can come help with our fundraiser. Right now, we've got a whole bunch of them come and work for us at the fair.
Everyone who works for the Gem and Mineral Society are volunteers. They help sell items from jewelry to natural stones. All funds will be collected and given to the next scholarship earners who will also come and volunteer at the next Fresno Fair. Well, Mason, have you by any chance gone to the Fresno Fair?
I haven't yet, but I'm kind of waiting for the weather to cool down a little bit. Just maybe get into the upper 80s, maybe upper 70s. That's the kind of weather I'm looking for the Fresno Fair.
Yeah, I actually have gone, and it's been pretty hot, but I'm actually going to go another time again and check out the geology Gem and Mineral Society.
All right. Next week on Fresno State Focus, we'll bring you details on a new dorm built here on campus.
Plus, we break down the rising costs of fees that bump up our tuition, and we'll see how that might affect us.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week.